As I've been reading more and more of your comments in the comments section and under my videos, and even during my live streams, I've been seeing that you all want more and more very entry level and very basic cybersecurity content. And I want to give that to you.
Hey, that's pretty good.
Today, we're going to talk about what is cybersecurity.
What?
We're going to talk about that in the form of the CIA triad. Watch more, come along as we get more into what is cybersecurity.
Let's go.
Welcome back to Struggle Security, but we are normalizing struggling in cybersecurity. If this is your first time here, or if you're a repeat guest, I want you to hit the subscription button, hit the notification bell as you get more and more of this cybersecurity content. So today we're going to go over a subject, let's jump right into it, of what is cybersecurity. Like I mentioned before, I've been hearing a lot of your voices, right, in the form of comment sections, but even at work, I've been conducting a lot of interviews for people who are entry level to cybersecurity. And this question continues to come up over and over and over again, because many different people have different definitions of what it is. And the question is, what is cybersecurity? Many times you all have only seen cybersecurity in the form of the different clickbait articles that come in and say, oh, Russia's hacking the cyber grid, or this organization is getting into financial institutions and stealing bank cards and bank information. But I want to get down into what that subject is. I want to start it with this, a little bit of a backstory. Some years ago, I was talking to my nephew, and he doesn't know too much about what I do as it concerns occupation. At the time I was working as a cybersecurity specialist, and I was doing a conference, and I asked this question of what does he think cybersecurity is? And the way that he answered, he said cybersecurity is stopping hackers from doing bad things to computers. Which I think was a very admirable answer, right? It's very good, right? He's going based upon the information that he has, but I definitely want to provide more of a context of that answer to you. I want to provide more of that to you because many times a lot of you are only seeing what comes in from the social media sites, from the articles, from the news cycles. But I want to define that for you today of what is cybersecurity really. And I think that it can be defined in the CIA triad. What does that stand for? It does not stand for Center of Intelligence Agency, but it does stand for confidentiality, integrity, and availability. What does that mean? That is the way that I really look at defining what cybersecurity is in the form of the CIA triad. Again, confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Let's break down each one of those and get into really what each one of those are. So starting with confidentiality, and the overall definition is an organization's effort to keep their data private or secret, right? Keep their data private and secret. When you think about confidentiality, I'm going to give you an example. The 11 herbs and spices of the KFC recipe. Have you all heard of that before, right? Do you all know what the 11 herbs and spices are? No. And neither do KFC's competitors. It's because it's a trade secret. It's something that's like the secret sauce to what makes their organization and makes the recipe for their chicken better than everybody else's. So that's something that organization, the corporate entity of KFC, wants to keep confidential. So think about that, right? When you're thinking about cybersecurity, what information will be important to keep confidential? Maybe hospital records, right? The 11 herbs and spices, bank notices or bank records, your social security number, the passwords to your social media accounts. You don't want anybody to get into your TikTok account, right? Those are things that you want to keep confidential. And when you're looking at cybersecurity and confidentiality, that is something that's extremely important. Let's move on to the second one. Let's move on to integrity. Integrity is ensuring the data has not been tampered with, or ensuring that data has not been tampered with, and therefore can be trusted. It makes sure that your data is correct, authentic, and reliable. Integrity. That kind of brings me back to something within cybersecurity or a hack that I remember, which is called Stuxnet. In the Middle East, there was an Iranian facility, and what happened is that Iranian facility was compromised by some malware. And what happened is that there were several things that happened, but I think the thing that applies to integrity is that there were these devices called centrifuges, and they spun. And there are these operators who are able to evaluate how fast these things were spinning in order to create nuclear material. They were able to look at these things called HMIs or human machine interfaces to say, okay, these are spinning at the correct rates and that the process of creating this nuclear material was successful. But one thing that happened as a result of this hack within this facility is that what the operators were seeing from a screen is not the same thing that was occurring on the centrifuges. These centrifuges were spinning out of control to the point where they continually got damaged. So the problem was that this hack had stopped the operators from seeing what was true, what was real, and what had integrity. The integrity was violated in this case. They were seeing things that said, hey, things are going good, right? A-OK, perfect, green checks. But what was happening on the actual site is that things were all out of control. Integrity was violated to the point where the operators were not able to tell what was true and what was lies, what were true and what was reliable. Think of things that you need that needs to have integrity within them. In many organizations, what happens is that bad guys get in through something called phishing attacks. And many times these phishing attacks can look like it's coming from a credible resource or a credible source. Sometimes there could be a phishing attack where they masquerade as a CEO of that company or a manager or a supervisor, somebody who's credible that might tell them to click on a particular link. Integrity is violated in that case because it's coming from a source that is not credible. Integrity violation. So that's the second one that I want to talk about as it concerns integrity. So the third one that I want to talk about is availability. Availability. And that definition is the quality of being able to be used or obtained, and even at times accessible. So when you talk about this third of the CIA triad, the availability piece, think of things like websites, right? When you look at a website, say for instance, your banking website. You want to be able to sign into the website to be able to do all your banking activities, transfer funds. You want to be able to withdraw money. You want to be able to upload money and put things within your account and be able to do all of your banking and financial things. But say, for instance, one day you try to log into your system, your banking system, and you're not able to get the website at all. It says that, hey, error 404, or it just keeps spinning and spinning on your web browser. This is something called an availability breach, right? You are not able to access the website because availability of that site has been compromised. And bad guys do this all the time in the form of DOS or DDoS, right? DOS stands for denial of service, or DDoS stands for distributed denial of service. These are types of attack that aim at stopping the availability for certain resources and systems and environments. Another example of when these DDoS attacks can cause negative impacts on environment is that, say for instance, in an environment that might have a web server that might give you access to your electrical systems within your environment, right? If a DDoS attack is launched and it stops the system communicating to your electrical grid organization, it can cause a disruption in the availability of the electricity to you and your home. Many of these systems are smart these days. And because these systems are smart, they are connected by computers. And if a denial of service attack is implemented against some of your smart electrical systems, it can cause their availability to drop. But that is another example of availability, is when your electricity can be cut off as a result of a denial of service attack on a critical system in your electrical grid. So those are some examples of confidentiality 1, integrity 2, and availability. Confidentiality, again, keeping the right eyes on the right information. Integrity, making sure that that information is credible and reliable. And availability is making sure that that information and systems are capable of administering what they're supposed to administer. So those are the 3 examples. And just want to start there as we build up on some more of this content, very basic, very foundational information for cybersecurity. Hopefully this has been valuable to you. And I want you to come again as we normalize struggling in cybersecurity. Thanks.